What better way to kick the new year off? New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe on Switch is a complete best-of version of the Wii U release, with a smattering of visual tweaks to boot. As with so many highlights of Nintendo's last console, the original sadly got overlooked, despite really being one of the series' best. And so it's great that Switch does get a conversion similar in scope to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. What's included? Well, the original game and its Luigi expansion are tied up into one package, and besides losing the Miiverse integration, everything else stays intact. Two new characters join from the start, Nabbit and Toadette, offering easier ways to get involved. Otherwise, U Deluxe plays it relatively straight, but look under the hood and there are a few more changes than you might expect. Looking back, New Super Mario Bros. Has never really been Nintendo's most technically advanced series. For that, more attention is paid to Mario's full 3D adventures. Between Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy and Odyssey, it's there that new ideas are broached, no matter how outlandish. The rules of navigating 3D space are subverted, toyed with, always to showcase Nintendo's flagship machine. Even so, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe has a special place in Switch's lineup today. It pays tribute to the mascot's legacy, going back to the template of Super Mario World on Super NES. This is Nintendo's line to a rich tradition of 2D game design, even if it's through a medium of 3D rendering that would otherwise be lost to time. That's not to say it rests on its laurels. The 2D sprite work of Mario World is, for all its charms, ditched in favour of conventional 3D character modelling. The advantage? It opens the gates to more modern lighting and shader techniques for elements like water or lava. It's never overplayed, but allows fireballs and lamps to properly alight nearby geometry. A parallax scrolling effect is also used on 2D background layers, just like in those 16-bit days, meaning different layers move at different speeds to create an illusion of depth as you run. Except U Deluxe goes a little further here, with a Gaussian depth of field effect and even light shafts. In fact, many of the backgrounds in its levels use multiple layers of clouds or jutting cliffs, plus extra effects like snow to build a sense of position in the foreground. So, this combination of 2D layering and 3D modelling worked brilliantly, but something is missing. It's clean and clear, perfect for deciphering a mad scramble between 4 players. But I will say there was an opportunity to go even further on Switch. With Super Mario Maker, the DIY level creator on Wii U and 3DS, Nintendo tapped into a killer idea that could have been repurposed in the new Mario series. In Mario Maker, you get the option to swap tiles on backdrops and characters, letting your level mimic any era of Mario's history. From the NES original to Mario World to this modern 3D style, it revamped every stage at the touch of a button to simulate what was possible in that generation. It's really cool, but as far as I've played at least, it's not a consideration for U Deluxe. Given the simplicity of the building blocks for each level, it could have been a great way to distinguish Switch from the Wii U version, and add variety. Still, what's there translates well to Switch. There's a rich vein of quality that courses through every level. Enemies and platforms are exactly placed to encourage the speedrunner, while secret pipes and vines reward exploration. The visuals may not be groundbreaking, but they're an effective way to push some great game design. So what does Switch get right? Before we get to the comparisons, there's a bit of a mystery when it comes to the download itself. On Wii U, the whole new Super Mario Bros. U package, including the Luigi expansion, comes to 13 GB bought from the store. Quite how that's possible, I don't know. The asset size in these games have never been too extravagant. When it comes to Switch though, it's trimmed down quite radically, to just 2.5 GB, a fifth of the size. My best guess as to why is, since Luigi was released as a standalone disc, it's possible all assets were duplicated from the standard game. If that's the case, then we would see a needless doubling in game size. But Switch could simply have a smarter packaging of all those same game files, meaning it fits snugly onto a cartridge too. Crucially, nothing is downgraded. Visual comparisons with Wii U bear this out clearly, and it's improved in every respect. So to start, the resolution does get a bump from a native 720p on the original to 1080p while docked on Switch. The same goes for all the UI and text too, leaving docked play looking crisp on any full HD display. A zoom in like this shows just how far ahead Switch's GPU really is. It's the same deal as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe if you've played that, and definitely marks the game's biggest improvement. Again though, it does look like anti-aliasing is left out entirely. You get 1920 by 1080 pixels left raw and untreated. Not an awful result in this case, but you will catch a touch of pixel crawl, especially if you're blowing it up to a 4K set. That's the least we can expect, but what else? Well, it's all subtle refinements from here. Texturing and assets are broadly identical, besides a slight difference in shading in the background and the windows to Peach's castle. It's an anomaly, but a more deliberate change isn't to the textures themselves, but the filtering method. Switch boosts anisotropic filtering quality up in Deluxe, and so any surface that sits at an angle relative to the camera will simply look clearer. Wii U's are often blurred, and I wouldn't be surprised if we've now moved closer to 16 times AF on Switch, given the sharp improvement. Either way, a significant boost. Next up, there have been changes to geometry, though Nintendo has been selective about what gets a tweak. The main case I've seen is on Princess Peach. Her face and clothing are altered on Switch, features are more defined, but strangely not much has changed for Mario, Luigi and the other characters. There may be more going into this game, but of the main characters, only Peach is reworked. Beyond that, there's high resolution shadows underneath every character. The Wii U release could get away with alias shadows to an extent, owing to the 720p output. At 1080p on Switch while docked though, an upgrade was really needed to match, and that's what we get, especially looking at the top-down map view. So there are a few refinements. It's very similar to the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe release, a full HD conversion with a few touch-ups to the content of the game. Switch's major defining feature is portable play though, and you'll be happy to hear 4-player works just as it does while docked. More than that, the core visuals are identical between docked and portable, barring the change to a native 720p. Here's a side-by-side for posterity then. The only difference really is that your portable playback is running at 1280 by 720, which works really well for the fixed pixel arrangement of the Switch. It's also quite unlike Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, a more advanced game in many respects with its full 3D environments, where portable play showed up a slightly sub 720p reading in our analysis. The end result? At 720p running portably, U Deluxe on Switch looks identical to Wii U when played on a TV. It's an upgrade when you consider the handheld experience though. The Wii U gamepad only used an 854 by 480 screen, scaling a 720p image beamed out by the console itself down to essentially 480p. Taken that way, Switch is a massive improvement. You can take it anywhere, and viewed on that lovely 720p IPS panel is on another level of clarity. The only trouble there is, with 4 players on the smaller screen, the action is a bit tougher to track, but still the option is there. What's practically a given is Nintendo's push for 60fps gameplay. Having put 10 hours into it so far, and playing with 4 players, I've yet to see anything remotely approaching a frame rate drop. It's 60fps all the way while docked, and if we swap over to some portable play, yep, that's how it runs on the go as well. There wasn't any real danger this wouldn't run well on Switch. The resolution stays fixed, and the performance line is tightly nestled at the top there. I'm planning to finish the game, so if I do catch anything later on, I'll add it to the description as an update. But in the here and now, it's hard to see Switch being pushed beyond its limits. We've seen more ambitious conversions to Switch. Consider the likes of Smash Bros. Ultimate compared to Smash 4 on Wii U. There's an enormous gulf in visual quality there, and it really shows the conservative nature of a game like New Super Mario Bros. On Switch. In fairness, given the largely simplistic nature of the visuals, it could only be improved in so many ways. 1080p visuals, upgraded texture filtering, altered character models, and better shadows are what we get, to refine a package that was already nicely bow-tied. U Deluxe is exactly what I'd imagine it'd be going in then. A way for Nintendo to direct attention to work that went under the radar on Wii U. And who can blame them? The conversion is played straight, but for most people who missed that boat, it will still ostensibly be a new Mario experience. For the rest of us, it's perhaps a lesser value proposition, but still recommended as a way to revisit a great game, now with proper portable play. There are plenty of classics on Wii U that could do with similar treatment. Zelda, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are 2 that spring to mind, and a personal pick would be Super Mario Maker, potentially a good match for Switch's capacitive screen. Either way, I'd be interested in reading what your picks would be in the comments. Many of these games do deserve a bit more time in the sun than they truly had, and better still, could improve with the hop to a new generation. Feel free to drop a line below. For me though, I'm out of time. If you did find this analysis useful, do let me know by liking or subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to strike that bell to get updates when any new video lands. For the original source file to this and many other videos, check out our Patreon at digitalfoundry.net. But until next time, thanks for watching.